So in thinking about cross-border data transfers, geopolitical scenario planning, I think, is more important now than ever. As an example, right, if the EU or strips the UK of their adequacy, something to think about is what is your risk there? How do you pivot? What can you leverage in instances if that happens? But also, the US is in its, I don't know, privacy rumspringa, let's say, and sort of trying everything. And, that's having impacts on businesses. Our neighbors to the north here in Canada, a number of companies, industries, et cetera, I know are considering, moving operations or, looking for other markets to enter as a result of some economic policies here. And as a privacy professional, you should be involved in those discussions within your organization and figure out what is the plan. Are you moving to new markets? How are the things that are happening in these places going to affect your company? How can you leverage what you already have? What's your risk level, et cetera? So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about geopolitical scenario planning. Look at the key areas that may impact your data transfers and where your risk level is. The other thing that's happened recently is the DOJ final rule on protecting bulk US sensitive data. So that was effective April 8th, and the DOJ gave a 3-month grace period for good faith efforts to comply with that rule. And that grace period ended a week ago today. So if you have not already started your good faith efforts, I recommend you do it today. And in doing that, documentation is going to be key. So maybe it starts with an email to your cross-functional team saying we're evaluating our partners, right, under this, or we're evaluating our data transfers, we're looking into these things, but get started if you haven't already. And so we put there what the sort of country's concern, and I don't want to go too deep into this rule, but it's called the bulk US sensitive data, and bulk is not a defined term like dozens or tons or something. So look at those numbers because you may be getting swept up in that. The lowest amount is 100 persons, 100 human persons genomic data. So in my perspective, if somebody told me 100 persons, I would not think that's bulk data, but it is. That's sort of one of the lower thresholds. Some of them are higher, 1,000, 100,000 for different types of data, but make sure that you look at that. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the global CBPR, which is a forum that was established in 2022 by the 9 countries that were participating in the APEC cross-border privacy rules system, which is a system that was created to facilitate global data transfers and remove barriers to trade and ensure a level of data protection in those data transfers. So that system expanded beyond the APEC borders. And now there's a number of other countries that have participated so that I think all habitable continents are now represented in that group. And so that certification was launched in June and allows companies that participate in it who are certified to it to transfer data within and amongst those regions. So I suspect that the number of participants will continue to grow. Most recently, at their biannual workshop, 2 other countries made it known that they're in the process of joining the global CBPR system. In order to do that, countries have to have a certain level of privacy standards within their country. And also, the Global CBPR Forum, their goals for this year are to modernize the privacy requirements of that. The last look at those privacy requirements was at it's the origin of the APEC CBPR system. And so there's going to be at least 8 different areas where they'll be including some requirements that, again, sort of bring that framework up to speed with what the current level of sort of privacy requirements is globally. Relatedly, Canada is undergoing a consultation on their implementation of the global CBPR, and one of the questions in their consultation form is whether they should look at offering certifications for compliance with PIPEDA. So if you have some perspective on that, you can go to their website. There's a number of questions. You can answer just the ones that you want that are relevant to you, but that's one of them. So if you have a perspective on that, they're considering offering that. So it's something worth looking into.